So here, look, I get the pleasure of introducing this man, and I'm excited about it. I was asked to do this. This guy is coming from us from Southern California. He brings all the fun. He's always has an amazing training. Helps us do self check-in points. He helps us get out of our heads and breaks down the walls of how simple this business can be. And really, he's just saying, just follow a simple system. This will always be stuck in my mind. I have to share this. This man took Sam Hines' offer on the coffee. For anyone that doesn't know what that means, that was a Fort Worth convention. And all of us saw she gave a really good little nice prize with that coffee and what it is. And everyone was feeling it. And all of a sudden I just see this little jog going, and I was like, where is he going? And it slaps a buck and gets the coffee. I was like, can he do that? And I was like, well, obviously he's doing it. So I was a little jealous by it, but it was just great just to see it. But take that, right? That fun and everything. This is the same man that coasted us through a pandemic with his trainings, his stories. So grateful for it. If you haven't seen any of those, you can definitely go to Destiny International channel where Mr. Jabri Clemens has put all those things collectively. You're definitely going to look at those things. So just to give you a glimpse of what this month, what he's brought, being brand new was his first training through this series, right? And the second one was authenticity. That's our second one. And he gave us a great collective of books. So thanks, Natasha, for putting that in our WhatsApp group for us. So we're able to look for those things on there. So my pleasure being able to just basically saying this is one of our great mentors, Mr. Julian Lewis.
Mr. Harrison Mills, how you doing, sir? I just want to let everyone know, he talked about the pandemic, but even prior, I can tell you that he has been focused, he's been consistent, he loves to help everyone. He's also a lot of fun. And it's always great to see your energy and your smile when you're on here. So I appreciate all the kind things that you said about me. And yeah, you're right, I did grab the coffee. She didn't say you couldn't. So I appreciate you pointing that out. But just to give you a brief background on me before we get started. Again, my name is Julian, and prior to getting involved with this company, I was a senior systems engineer. I was working roughly 80 to 90 hours a week at my job. I was averaging 50 to 60 flights a year, which put me in a situation where I really didn't have a lot of time for myself or my family. But good fortune came my way. I was introduced to this business by my first mentor in this industry, who shared with me a system that allowed me to replace that income and enabled me to come home to my family. But most importantly, I was able to become the type of father that I felt my daughter deserved. And so, speaking of which, she's in her last summer before college. So things worked out really well. I was able to be there for every first moment, everything you can think of, all the field trips, all the conversations. And I really owe it to the time and freedom that I was able to develop while being on my own schedule here with this company. All right, so I talked about authenticity last week, and I talked about how important that is. When you learn the system, how you allow yourself to come through it. Because your friends and family are gonna know you're a fraud if you start talking funny. And I mentioned I was talking to James, and I said, if I called you up and James, you started sounding like a robot, I'm gonna think someone held you hostage. And I'm not joining whatever it is that you're talking about, because I don't want them to do to me whatever it is they're doing to you, right? And I'm very blunt about this stuff. So today, though, I'm kind of gonna flip the script. And yes, you wanna be authentic, but I'm gonna share with you something that's important. I shared a long time ago, but it really helped me in my first 6 months of this business to catapult to a position where a lot of people don't get to when they join network marketing or ACN in their first run. It's a story about my aunt. She taught me something about how to always reach the top. And I'm going to share this with you because this has allowed me in every space that I've decided to enter in to succeed, to excel, to accelerate. And then I'm going to give you something that's an X factor, a game changer, that's like a secret weapon that will really help you to take this thing to the next level. Is that fair? Sam, is that fair? That's good? All right, let's go. So my aunt, she caught myself and one of my best friends, LaRon, we were about 16 years old, and we used to make a little bit of extra money because we understood how sound systems work. And I mean the ones that are in the back of trunks that wreak havoc in neighborhoods. Do you know what I'm talking about? The cars that go boom. Anyone know what I'm talking about? All right. So we knew how to install them. We knew how to do install the speakers, the amps, all that stuff. And we were way cheaper than like Al and Ed's car audio, if that makes sense. So kids would come to us, and we were installing something. My aunt, she walked up the driveway and she looked at what we were doing, and she said, you know, you've always been pretty technical, you're pretty sharp. Would you like to work with me during Christmas break? Now, my aunt, she was a level 4 technician for a company that supported Pacific Bell. And if you don't know what Pacific Bell is, all the bells, it's AT&T now, okay? She also supported a company called Telapps, and they built a lot of the systems in the cell sites that was the technology that allowed us to talk to each other. And so it sounded cool to me because it was technology. But I said, well, what time would I have to get up? Because this is winter break. And she said, we start at like 6 in the morning or something like that. And I said, no, thank you. And I went about and then she said, no, but you don't understand. You'll be getting paid like over $25 an hour. And I said, oh, I'll do that, bet. You know, we got action. So $25 an hour. Does anyone understand? I'm talking about like in 1996. So that was a lot of money. And I wasn't passing that up. So I decided to do so. And so we get to the site. Now, mind you, the site is unassuming. It's in a business park and it's dark. Like, it is dark outside. It's a little cold, and we get out of the car and we walk up to the double doors. Danny Payne, it's good to see your face, man. We walk up to the doors, and there are these vents on the side, these big double doors, and it's key card access. And I could hear the hum of the machinery inside. I didn't know what was going on. And she went to swipe her key card, but before she did, she paused. And she taught me something that stays with me to this day. See, I had seen my aunt in different industries, and she was always at the top. She would start at the bottom, and she'd always get to the top. And I just thought she was brilliant. I didn't know she is brilliant, but I didn't know she had a system that allowed her to move faster than most people. And so she shared it with me, and she said, Julian, the problem with most adults is they know a little bit about what they're about to do, and they try to pretend like they know more than they do. And then they go in and they try to do things their way. Some of those parts work, some don't, but because they're new, they don't know what parts are an experiment. They don't know what parts worked and what didn't. And so they can't repeat if they're succeeding. She said, what I've always done is I go into a space, even if I know a lot about it, I go in pretending I don't know anything. And I identify the people that are the best of the best. I mimic them, be able to have the same results that they have. And then I can add my own flair. And she said, that's my secret. That's what's always gotten me to the top. So here's what I need you to do, Julian. I'm going to open these doors, and I'm going to introduce you to people who who have certain skill sets that are going to help you to grow in this industry. And you're going to be able to make great money doing it. But here's what you can't do. You can't go in pretending you know anything or trying to make yourself look good. What you need to do is be humble and just learn how to do it the exact same way they do it. And then when you can get the result at the speed that they get, then you'll have an edge. And I said, well, why will you have an edge then? And she said, because you'll have their skill and your uniqueness. And now you'll be able to see where you fit in the program. And I listened. And here's what happened. I was killing it by the end of the winter break. And by the time it came time to work again at spring break, they asked her if I could. And then summer, they promoted me. And then by the time I was 18, I was the youngest lead technician at the company. And the reason why I'm telling you this is I didn't come in there inauthentic. But what I did is I came in humble. See, a lot of times we make the mistake in saying, if I memorize it and do it the same way the leader's doing it, that's being inauthentic. It isn't. What it is helping you to get down the right cadence. It's helping you to get down the right words. It's helping you to can those things. And then who you are comes through. I want you to think about all the top leaders that you know in this company, whether it's a Lakeisha Coles, whether it's an Aaron or Chanel Burt, whether it's a Patrick or Michael Mazer, whether it's an Al Thomas. I want to focus on Patrick and Mike and Chanel and Aaron because they have the same upline. Okay, Mr. Danny Volanino. First of all, could you imagine Aaron and Chanel being one of your organizations and Pat and Mike being another? Who's like getting ready to pass out right now already just thinking about it, right? But I want you to think about the styles of Pat and Mike. Can we agree that the styles of Pat and Mike are a lot different than the style of Chanel and Aaron? Is this true? But aren't both organizations still killing it? Well, what's the same? Don't they both follow a system? Don't they both talk about the same steps? So what are these differences that we see? The differences are them showing up authentically, following the system. And so who they are attracts different people because different people will be aligned with different leadership. But what they're doing is what works. And so I don't want you to miss the point that I made in being authentic when your mentor says, here's how you need to do it. And you say, no, Julian told me to be authentic. I'm gonna do it a different way. That's not what I'm saying. What I am saying is be smart. If you have someone who you've identified as a mentor and they're teaching you all the ways that work, put yourself on pause in the very beginning and soak up everything that they're telling you to do like a sponge. And then when you can get the same results that they're getting, doing exactly what they're saying, then you can add your own flair. See, when I was brand new, I could do three-way calls with my team, and you would think it was Dakota Bragg when I was brand new, because I mastered, I could do his presentation. I could do his training. I could do the thing where he steps on stage and he does this like stutter step and he does this and goes, I could do all of that stuff where he would touch you on the shoulder, where he would lift his glasses before he makes a point. I knew how to do all of those things. Why? Is it because I wanted to become him? No, it's because what he was doing was working and was more effective in a closing ratio than every single person that I met, so that I could do what he did and understood why he did it. See, if I could understand the mechanics of why he was doing it, then I could do it, and I can do it myself the way Julian works. And here's what happened. All of a sudden, when I was able to be myself doing what works, my results kicked in. My results kicked in and then skyrocketed. because it was me. We were able to recruit people that we weren't recruiting, because Nakota could recruit people because of who he was, and I could recruit people because of who I was, and now our team was diverse. We were two Black men on the West Coast with the most diverse team on the West Coast, because he taught me that. See, he taught me this thing about being able to speak biker to biker and banker to banker. But he taught me to do so without losing who I was. And what was great is we could have a conversation without someone thinking he's trying to be like me. And that's really what this is all about. Like I mentioned when I talked about Lakeisha's training 2 weeks ago, or Lakeisha's training last week, I should say, is the system is the system. All that stuff is simple. But where people trip up, people get confused, people get halted. Do you know where that is? It's always inside of themselves. It has nothing to do with the system. The things that are going to slow you down, the things you think, matter of fact, the things you think are slowing you down, they're not. I want to share something with you, and if you're new, you may have heard this before. And then I'm going to get into the X factor. Is that cool? All right. I've heard new people come up to me and say, you know, I would be doing better, but my list is crap. I have terrible people on my list. Has anyone ever heard that before? I don't have a great list. Before technology, before Zoom, people used to say stuff like, I have a small list, or my list is, I live in San Diego, but my list, I'm from DC. So that's why my list is so small. They would make up all these excuses, or if they had a huge list, they would say, I just don't know good people, right? Here's the reality. It's not the people, it's us. It's not the people, it's us. Because your list will identify leaders or become a lead source to other people. The list is just a starting point. And here's the X factor. When I went to the first international, I saw all these people winning and succeeding and winning and all these things. I was excited. I was one of them. I was winning, but I wanted to win bigger. And you know what I realized? When I saw everyone walking up on the stage, when I saw the RVP promotions and the SVP promotions, they all had a story of struggle. They all had a story of self-awareness, a story of identifying blind spots, things that were knocking them out the box. And you know, with every single story that I've had for the entire time, every single story that I've heard for the entire time that I've been in ACN, 99% of the stories, you know what they're about? It's just 8 words. Does anyone know what that is? I had to get out of the way. I had to get out of my way. I had to get out of my way. I had to get out of my way. 99% of the stories are, I had to get out of my way. Until I got out of my way, I didn't reach the stage. I want you to think about it. Who's been to an international? Really think about all the stories you've ever heard about how they got there. Because I thought about this for a long time. 99% of the stories say, I didn't reach this platform until I got out of my own way. So it's not a company problem. It's not a product problem. It's not should I be doing meetings in person? Should I be doing meetings virtual? You should be doing all of the meetings. I don't even understand that conversation. It's a what's going on in my head conversation. It's a can I get out of my own way conversation. It's a can I take these principles and have faith, put my head down and go to work, seeing that all these other people did it before me and all these other people are saying the same thing. See, it would be different. Here's where I would say, I don't think I'm going to be able to win. If I went to the international and I saw everyone there looked exactly the same and they all sounded the same. If it was like robots, if they all, like if I showed up and everyone who got on stage looked exactly like Harrison Mills, like identical. I'm like, man, is that his brother? Like, this is like the same dude? No, this is Harrison Skills. This ain't Harrison Mills. Oh, who's this? This is Darrison Gills. Like all these people start coming up and I'm like, man, I'm not gonna make it here. I don't look like him. I don't have that name. I don't have that smile. I'm done. I'm out of here. Here's how I knew I could win. Because everyone came from different walks of life, different backgrounds, different experiences, different cities, different counties, different countries. And they all followed a system and they said, all of my experiences, Amanda, I had to get out of my own way. And it worked. So you know what that told me? You've heard it before, but I wanted to break it down a little more simple. If they can do it, I can do it. So all you have to do, this is gonna sound scary. This is gonna sound scary. You're gonna have to take a trip inward and actually do combat with those demons that you've been putting to the side. Because in this business, you actually have to face up with those in order to get to the levels you want to get. You have to. And as you do, as you become more human, Al, as you become more human, Victor, because you're embracing those parts of you, you know what you become? More relatable. And when you become more relatable, because you're more transparent, people can see themselves in you. And then they can say, man, I went through that. If he can do it, I can do it. Like T and Ken will tell you, you know, they were working with me in San Diego when my brother and I lost my father. That Saturday. They can relate. Do you understand what I'm saying? They saw they saw us go through it. I never hid that stuff, but I still showed up. So you know what they realize in that? Dang, I guess I can get through hard things and show up. But you gotta face those things. I know network marketing for a long time said, fake it till you make it. But I'm telling you, man, people don't like phony. Stop it. Maybe in the 80s. Maybe in the 80s, but we're not there. Look, he doesn't like it either. So, I mean, you really got to think about it. This is authentic. Like, I'm at home. I have a crazy dog who doesn't like people coming to the front door. And you know who can relate? How about half of you on here? Or I could pretend or get embarrassed. Or I could say, oh my gosh, and get embarrassed. For what? I'm human. Look, we're always changing. We're always changing. Know this. I can be out in public with gym clothes on in a predominantly white neighborhood, which I live in, and sit down in Starbucks and have an authentic conversation and have the person across from me peak themselves. Because it's not about my attire. It's about who I'm being while I'm showing up. And I think we miss that a lot of the times. Don't get me wrong. You want to dress for success. But if you're all dressed up in that shiny suit and you're phony, people can smell it a mile away. Whatever you're going to do, be authentic. Memorize it, be humble, master the system, and make sure you shine through. And if there's anything that you can do to identify any of the roadblocks in yourself, work on those. And then talk about how you worked on them. So people don't think that you had to be 100% polished to be good. I think that's one of the things, Lakeisha, that attracted me to Aaron when we became friends. He was just real. He was like, bro, this is what I do. Like this is what I do. And I'm like, yes, because everyone over here is like, this is what I do. This is what I do. And I'm like, I can't do that. I can't do that. And so, yeah, you choose what you want to do. But I love you guys. Next week, we're going to close out the month strong. And I'm actually going to talk about more business and talk about closing out the month, what that looks like, how to have a huge start to the month by understanding how to leverage apps, how to close out, and how to get the results you want in a short period of time. Is that cool? All right, so Mr. Mills, I will turn the call over to you, sir.